So, welcome everyone and happy Lantern Festival, the final day of the Lunar New Year celebration. And my name is Emily Chu from the Yale-China Association, and I'm so happy to have done this collaborative project with Jean at the Ely Center to tell stories of Lunar New Year from Hong Kong and beyond. So this is the last day of Lunar Fest, which is our annual Lunar New Year celebration, which has been all virtual this year. And this has been our chance to bring our Hong Kong culture and voice into Lunar Fest virtually because we weren't able to bring arts fellows and teaching fellows from Hong Kong to New Haven this year. And then, Jean, was there anything you would like to say on behalf of the Ely Center before we get started?
Yes, I'd like to say that the Ely Center is actually maybe just right down the street, very close to Yale-China. And we've had this wonderful relationship with Yale-China and the fellows. And this is the third iteration, or maybe it's the fourth iteration of a project that we've done during the Lunar Fest. And we are so fortunate and so proud to be part of Yale-China. We find it to be a very good neighbor, and we're happy to have this wonderful. These photo essays are quite. They're just they're quite stunning and beautiful, and they are just what we would like for our virtual digital platform, which we also have really expanded this year because of COVID. So thank you all for agreeing to be part of it and for sharing your stories.
Jean, we love being your neighbor too. It's so nice to have
Yes.
so many artists all around us. So today for our talk, we have four of the six artists from the exhibit, and I'll drop a link in the chat to the exhibit if anyone hasn't seen it yet. And huge thanks to Jean for putting everything up on the website and creating that online exhibit in a very short amount of time. But each of our artists is going to have a chance to talk and tell you a little bit about their photo story, their process. And we encourage you, if you have any questions, to drop them in the chat or save them till the end when we have Q&A. You'll have the ability to also raise your hand and ask out loud as well. But while our artists are speaking, we ask that you mute yourself. So if anything happens in your background, it won't disrupt the talk. And we'll go ahead and get started, and we're just going to go in alphabetical order. And so we're going to have Cyrus go first. So welcome, Cyrus.
Thank you. So let me just share my screen for this particular photo. Okay. And can everyone see it? Okay. So hello, everyone. My name is Cyrus. I'm so honored to be able to sit here today and talk about my work. So before we dive into the actual stories behind the photos I've taken, I'd just like to say that when I was first offered this opportunity to take part in this project, I was both thrilled and a little scared, to be very honest. And I was, and I still am, an amateur photographer. I had almost zero experience with photography, so I was rather hesitant, I'd say. However, I soon figured out that the hesitation I was feeling was actually just the lack of motivation. Therefore, I decided to, just go for it and give it a try. Then the real question kind of came in, and that's like, what kind of photos do I want to take? With this whole pandemic going on, Lunar New Year seemed a lot duller than usual. It's not the same image that would show up in your head when you think of the festival. And that is exactly why I decided to center my photos around what the new year could bring. Once that was settled, I had set out and took a bunch of photos. I went to the flower market, the Wong Tai Sin Temple, and some other places where I would usually go during the Lunar New Year. And after being stuck at home for so long, I was super glad to be able to get back out there. It's like a breath of fresh air. Sometimes I feel like COVID has really got me disconnected from society, and this project gave me the perfect excuse to throw myself back into the city. Usually, I would just head to a random location that I know is popular among Hong Kong locals like me during the Lunar New Year. I have been to every single one of these spots, so I had a vague idea of what they were going to look like. But for some reason, as you can see in this screen that I'm sharing, um, I was really dedicated to the Leecham Street photo, mostly because I thought it would be like pretty to capture the lanterns and such. And that was the only photo that I had made elaborate plans about. I was like, I'm gonna shoot the photo from this angle. I'm gonna have the sunset as the background, yada yada yada. So I took the subway and I got to Leecham Street at like 4, which was 2 hours before the sunset. And then the waiting game starts. So I just kept waiting. And after a bit of wandering, I decided to take a break from all the walking because I'm tired. And I found this window seat in this coffee shop and then just sat down there. I watched waves after waves of people just pouring in as nighttime approaches. And they were obviously having lots of fun. They were taking selfies and all. And the fact that people were enjoying themselves, I feel like that makes me super happy to see, just people enjoying themselves, having fun. Uh, well, I personally never got around to taking that sunset lantern photo because that perfect sunset in my mind's eye never really appeared. It's simply non-existent. But at the end of the day, I still saw that as a win because what I captured with my phone that day was exactly what I think New Year is all about, and that's joy and happiness. I think all the photos that I've chosen for this project are kind of bittersweet. They remind me of what Lunar New Year used to look like, but at the same time, it makes me feel at ease to know that people are not giving up on themselves and they're finding new ways to celebrate the festival. And I know it's kind of hard to cheer up when the pandemic is still raging. And it is no surprise. Every day we hear about on the news, like how the economy is crumbling, how people are losing their loved ones due to COVID. And I'd just like to say that there's no shame in being frustrated or being dejected. I think it's important for us to know that it's okay to be downhearted, but do remember to pick yourself up when you feel like you're ready. Do something you're passionate about, go help someone who's suffering because of the pandemic. The pandemic might seem daunting right now, but I genuinely believe that if we were to take the initiative and regain some sort of control over our lives, we'll be able to make it through the storm. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Cyrus. I think that you should stop calling yourself an amateur photographer because your photos were amazing. You're definitely just a photographer now. No need for the amateur tacked on there. Thank you so much for sharing. And for those of you who might just be joining, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. We will have a Q&A at the end. And next, we'll move to Kit.
Hello, everyone. Can everyone hear me? Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Should be this one. Can everyone see the photos? Good. So I am actually, how should I start? I'm actually going to show you some photo that is not taken by me, but like my friends and my sister, they are like, I want to enter this topic from a domestic photo point of views, and then I'll like to tell you my stories of Chinese New Year. I am from Hong Kong, but actually I am in Switzerland right now. I've been married with my husband. I'm gay, with my husband for 10 years now. it has been quite difficult for me to deal with all these Chinese traditions, especially when I am the oldest son in the family. Being an openly gay Chinese son almost make me detached from my Chinese tradition, because a lot of Chinese traditions put a lot of responsibility to the oldest son of a Chinese family. So while I am openly gay, I feel like I'm not entitled to a lot of things, especially, you know, in a traditional Chinese family. But this year, I kind of break myself, break the traditions, and I handmade some red envelope to give away to my sister's sons, and also to my family's member as well. You might know it is a Chinese tradition that elderly people would give away red envelope to the young people in order to wish them good luck. And then, and also those people who is married will also give away red envelope to the kids. So these are photos of my sister's son who received my red envelope. I actually handmade them and I sent them from Switzerland to them. And then this is a photo of my best friend's children, Quinton. The boys is Quinton, and then the girl is called Miu Miu. So they are also holding the red envelope I sent from Switzerland, and the photo is actually taken by their parents. Because sometimes it's very difficult to take photos with kids. And this is Michaela. Michaela is my goddaughter from Switzerland. She's living in Hong Kong right now. And then I also especially send them red envelope to give it to them. So you might actually find this envelope quite interesting, because in Hong Kong, I don't know the tradition in China, but we like to give envelope with our family names on it. So you actually see in this envelope on the left-hand side is my family name, Hong. And then on the right-hand side is my husband's family name, Gesper. So after seeing all these photos happen, this year, I would like to show you a decoration in my living room in Switzerland. So this decoration is kind of like this chain decoration. It is actually given as a Christmas present a few years ago to my husband. And then it has like this little clips on it, so you can actually clip photos. But we use it to clip all the red envelope that is given to us from my parents. What is interesting in all these red envelope is actually I collected envelopes like through 10 years time. So a lot of them, you know, under sunlight or under daylight, some of the colors already fade out, and you can actually see the design is changing. We have the Ninja Turtles, if you know. This one is especially special to me because it was given many, many years ago, and behind is my mother's writing. Her best wishes, like here is right, Bo Peng on means in Chinese, protect you from being calm and safe. And then here is also my mother's writing. My husband name, Happy Chinese New Year 2017. This is actually given in 2008 for my birthday. So a lot of these red envelopes is also written with the parents' wishes on it. I remember this one as the first red envelope given by my parents to my husband. Actually, we married on 2010. And then actually it was 15 years of our relationship. My parents would have accepted me as a homosexual son and my husband at that time already. By like this acceptance is actually being shown by giving a red envelope to my husband. So I was really, really shocked at that moment to see my father is actually giving this red envelope to my husband as a form of acceptance of our marriage. So as a filmmaker from Hong Kong, I created a film called Forever 17. And then this film started with an old man finding an old red envelope from his parents with message written behind. And it started the story. And the story will slowly unfold. This is exactly the moment that I reenact in my films. The mother in the short film is giving an envelope, a red envelope to their sons, to her son's boyfriend during the Chinese dinner. So this is one of the moments that I like reenact in my short films, and I hope I will have a chance to show you in the Ely Centers in New Haven next year when I am. When I'm actually this year fellow, but I couldn't make it to United States. So next year I hope I can make it. And then this is actually the envelope. I sent it to Hong Kong this year. I received it as a gift actually in December. 2 years ago in Hong Kong, there is a TV station. They promote the idea of bringing your queer partner back home for Chinese New Year. So I was very lucky that I got these two red envelope from this TV station with my name and my husband's name printed on it. So it was in the beginning of February, right before Chinese New Year. I was looking at this decoration on my wall, remembering all this time I spent with my family, and then all the best wishes from my parents written behind the red envelope. So I actually opened up all this red envelope I got from Hong Kong, and then I scanned them in my computer, and I printed 10 copy out of it, and then I handmade the envelope. And then glue them back, and then I send them to Hong Kong just to ask the parents of my niece, which is my sisters, and the parents to put money inside and give it to their children. I think it is a very big statement to sort of come out to the young kids as well, to tell them there is a form of family, there's a form of union that is of two different family names, but at the same time they can stay very long together, and they can also be called lovers. So this is sort of like my statement to the young kids by giving them red envelope with two family names and with my best wishes to the children. That's my presentation for today.
Thank you so much, Kit. That was a wonderful story to hear. And I love that you've taken a very traditional item from Chinese culture to tell a rather unconventional story that's your own. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
And now we'll move on to Susanna.
Let me share my screen. Please wait. Okay. So can you guys see the picture?
Yes.
Okay. So okay. Hi, my name is Susanna, and I'm so thankful to have a chance to share my own New Year story here at Ely Center. I hope that you enjoy my photo story because I had a lot of fun making this photo story. So my process of making a story is quite simple actually because I want to capture how we celebrate Chinese New Year every year normally. But this year is a bit different because of the epidemic. I didn't go out much. The only thing I did during New Year is attending the family dinner because that's the most important thing I think we do in New Year. And I remember that day I just arrived at my grandparents' house early so I could take more pictures and I asked everyone for consent for the photos first. And then I just took out my camera and started shooting around the house, like taking random pictures around. Like initially, I took a lot of pictures like these decor and I took pictures of me buying gifts for everyone. But eventually, I decided to share some more simple photos, like how we are eating and pictures of food and portraits of my family member instead because I think they show my experience during the new year a bit more better. So I mostly took pictures of food, as you can see. Why? Because I think it really shows my own heritage. I've asked a lot of like Chinese friends and classmates for their New Year photos before, and I find something really interesting, especially in what they eat. So apparently, I can see that they all eat differently, even though they're all Chinese people. It's just that they're from different areas of China. Some of them are from the north, so they would eat glutinous rice balls for dessert during the New Year. And some people from the new territories in Hong Kong, they would eat pun choy and abalone. So I'm shocked at, oh, actually, we all eat different stuff during New Year. And as for me, I'm from like my family comes from Shongtuk in Guangdong, so we usually eat seafood dishes, and we don't really season our food as heavily as the Northerners do, actually, because we like to show the freshness of ingredients instead. So as you can see in the photo, this is kind of reflected because we like to eat steamed fish, soy chicken, and stir-fried mushroom and goose, and they're all traditional Shuntuk dishes that are quite different from what other people that I know uh, that would eat during the Chinese New Year. I find like sharing photos of what we eat, especially during Chinese New Year, very interesting because people would often send back their own food photos, and I think it's a form of cultural exchange in a lot of ways. I think it's very fun, and it makes me feel very proud of my own heritage and allow me to know more about other other aspects of Chinese culture as well. Apart from food, I also took a lot of like photos of my family members. Um, because being with them is like the biggest part of my experience during the new year. When I was taking photos of them, they're like so excited and they're, oh, take pictures of me, take pictures of me. And they look so forward to being featured in the exhibition. We had a great night and we were just eating nonstop and posing for photos. I think without them for New Year, I would feel very empty. Um, but however, a few years ago, I wouldn't say the same because I used to dislike eating with them actually, because they would talk about me and discuss about my school grades, and they bring things up that I found embarrassing. As a teen, I don't like it because usually awkward teens they don't like attention, so I thought they were mocking me, making fun of me. But as I grew up, I realized it's just kind of like banter, and how the older generation try to show concern and interest in how I'm doing, and they're just concerned about me in general. So eventually I tried engaging in their conversation, and I've been enjoying eating meals with them more ever since because I realized if I initiate more conversation with them, I would actually know that they're not mocking me. They're just interested in how I'm doing. So I felt like I'd wasted so much time being negative and feeling sad while eating with them when I could have just enjoyed myself during the process. So therefore, I took pictures of them to preserve them in my memory in some way, because I know they won't be around forever. My grandma and grandpa is quite old, and a lot of Hong Kong people are immigrating abroad. And I'm afraid that this might happen to my family also, and we won't be able to always be together and have this Chinese New Year dinner. So the thought of like our big family not being able to be together again and scattered around the world is quite scary and sad to me. So that's why I decided that I might want to continue to take as much photos as I can of my family members, especially during dinners, even after this photo project, because I really hope to capture these precious moments so that I can always cherish them. So this is the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Susanna. That
Thank you,
was
Donna.
a lovely
That was great.
story. I love hearing about how your project became a way for you to go on this journey of self-reflection. So thank you for that. And now we'll move on to Robbie.
Sure. So let me share my screen as well. And I should say before I get started that I've been having a few Wi-Fi troubles this morning. So if I cut out, just let me know and I'll try and repeat myself. I'll try not to speak too quickly either. So my name is Robbie, and I also first, before I get started, thank you to Emily and Jean really for organizing all of this and for all the other participants putting their work into making this happen. Anyway, my name's Robbie, and I wanted to talk about my photos sort of in two parts. First, by describing what I took photos of, and then second, by talking a little bit about the photographic style that I was, having in mind while I was taking the photos. So the photos I took over 2 days, actually February 11th and February 12th, which were the eve and the first day of the Lunar New Year, the new Lunar New Year. So on February 11th, I actually walked along Hennessy Road, which is a main thoroughfare in Central in Hong Kong. And I was sort of just wandering around basically from Central to Victoria Park, for those of you who know the geography. And I was taking photos of different things that were going on. So like Cyrus, I went to the flower market, and I also took some photos of just different things people were doing sort of related to the Lunar New Year. So this is along Hennessy Road, an older man who was actually making sort of calligraphic decorations for people who are walking along to bring them home as decorations to their own home. Here also at the flower market at Victoria Park. So this was sort of the first day of taking photos for me. These first 4 photos were walking along the central road and trying to see what people were doing. Mostly some photos of flowers because I thought they would make, kind of pleasing aesthetic images for you to enjoy. The second day, February 12th, the first day of the Lunar New Year, I actually traveled with several other Yale-China associates, several of the other teaching fellows, as well as our Hong Kong director, who's on this call, as well as his wife. And we traveled to Top Moon, or Grass Island, which is an outlying island in Hong Kong, to have sort of a nice picnic to celebrate the first day of the Lunar New Year. And we also, as it happened, encountered many cows and oxen, which we thought was somewhat auspicious, given that this is the year of the ox. Many of the animals live on this island that we visited. So I'll just sort of scroll through and show you these photos to kind of give you a sense of what I was taking photos of. But what I really wanted to talk about mostly was the kind of photographic style that I was having in mind while I was taking these photos. And what I should say is that typically my participation in the Lunar New Year has been somewhat observational in character. And maybe that comes through in the photos, which I think are a little bit less personal and maybe less intimate in certain ways than some of those of the other photographers participating in the exhibition. And I think this sort of makes sense. I'm not of Chinese heritage or the heritage of any group of people who celebrate the Lunar New Year. So although I did sort of celebrate the Lunar New Year growing up, it was normally as an observer. If I had friends whose parents were immigrants from China or Korea or Vietnam or another place that celebrates the Lunar New Year, they would very graciously invite me to their celebration, maybe invite me to a Lunar New Year dinner or give me a red packet of some kind. But my role was typically that of an observer. I didn't grow up celebrating these traditions in the way that I think many of my co-presenters did. But I have always sort of enjoyed that role. I think it's been a real privilege. Also because where I grew up near Sacramento, California, and also where I went to school in New Haven, there are sizable communities of people who actually do celebrate the Lunar New Year. So in addition to sort of participating in these private celebrations, I also felt very lucky to see more public celebrations going on while I was sort of coming of age, including Lunar Fest and the different events that go on in New Haven every year. And I was thinking about this kind of observational position in relationship to this project, because I think that photography itself, of course, is fundamentally a very observational art. We think about photography as maybe being a mixture of different things. Maybe there are certain hard techniques and technical skills you need to learn in order to operate a camera and maybe edit a photo to make it appear the way that you want. But I think that these are actually relatively simple in comparison to other arts. I think it's probably easier to learn how to master a camera than it is to learn how to master a paintbrush. So really with photography, what we're working with is mostly our ability to see, our ability to observe, see what's going on around us, and sort of pluck out from life different moments that we can sort of freeze from the flow of time. And so I think that this is actually a disposition that I'm pretty comfortable with. When I was in university and even before that, one of the main things that I did with my free time was actually photography, and especially photojournalism. I actually kind of really enjoy this position of being the observer, in some ways the outsider on the edge of a scene, taking photos of things that are happening rather than being a direct participant. And so in this way, I sort of felt that the photography that I was most used to, this sort of straightforward observational photography, actually aligned pretty well with my position in these Lunar New Year celebrations, which again is typically that of an observer. So in terms of the style that I was going for with these photographs, I was thinking that rather than doing a sort of aestheticized or highly edited or conceived or innovative sort of approach to the pictures or to the editing, I would just sort of take straightforward photos of things that I saw going on. And so I think that's kind of what I was going for, somewhat reflected in the everyday nature of most of these scenes. And yeah, I don't have that much more to say, but again, I'm really grateful to everyone who was involved in helping this project happen, and also to my fellow participants. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Robbie.
Thank you so much,
Emily.
Robbie.
Emily, would you like me to show Hong's?
Yes, we
Share
have.
my screen?
Yes, yes. So I'll just introduce that real quick. We have two other artists, one who was unable to join us. She's in the middle of examinations right now, and the other who is doing field work currently, but she shared a video with us. So we are gonna play that video from Hong. Some of you might recognize her. She was a fellow here last year and had a wonderful exhibit at the Ely Center.
Oh, yes, it was. All right, here we go.
Emily, Annie, Leslie, friends of Yale-China Association, and hello, Jean, Debbie, and friends of Ely Center, and hello, all of the friends in New Haven. Hong, I'm very honored to having this opportunity to say hello to you, and I hope you enjoy the online exhibition of this photo storytelling of my China's New Year, and I believe there will be so many wonderful stories gathering together to show that how different people celebrate the China New Year, even though I think this is a very special case in 2021 that many of us have a very different Chinese New Year celebration. But I think from the photos I included in my project, I kind of give you a sense of how an ordinary Hong Kong household looks like, and then also how I interact with my everyday objects in my small apartment in Hong Kong, and the New Year environment and New Year vibe emerged from my interaction with the intimate feeling of my apartment. Yeah, thank you. And please do contact me if you have any question to answer. I would be very happy to answer questions. Thank you so much.
And of course, thank you to Hong, even though she is not here with us. So we do have a bit of a time here for question and answer. So if anyone has questions, I invite you to put them in the chat or to use the raise hand function and we'll call on you. But just to kick things off, I might ask a question of my own to all four of you. And I will spotlight you so that everyone can see you. But thinking about the stories that you each told in your exhibits, we learned a lot about who you are as artists and what you just told us. But what is something you want us as the viewers of your photo stories to walk away with? And feel free to just, whoever wants to go first can go first.
Maybe I should go first. I think I like my intention of using domestic looking photo is really I would like everyone to look at the photo that they took by themselves, or like very ordinary photo that is taking, you know, using a cell phone or in a domestic environment, that everyone will have the story, and then also to look beyond the photo. What is the story behind each photo? That's what I really want my photo series to mean to all the audience.
So for me, I feel like the one thing I want the viewers to walk away with is to really think about like the things and the people that they love. Because again, because of the pandemic, everyone is kind of down, and it's so important for one to realize that you care about someone and you could very possibly feel the same. They could very possibly feel the same way about you too. And that is why we need to stay strong for those people and pick ourselves up. And the easiest way to cheer ourselves up is by learning something that we're passionate about. Because, you know, you have to save yourself before you can go on and save other people. You have to take a break, and that's essential for you to go a longer distance. And mask and social distancing might help with protecting a community, but for us to rebuild a community, we need to love and care for each other.
For me, I think there's one thing I want people to think about after seeing my photo story is that there's a lot of New Year's all around the world with different dates and in different cultures. And our Chinese New Year happens to be in February, which is a month apart from the Western New Year. And I hope to show my experience during Chinese New Year in a story because I believe that date and location doesn't really matter when it comes to spending quality time with our family members. We can all have our special little New Year's at home as long as we are together or even online on Zoom. We can just have fun with our family members. So I hope that these photos will kind of spark some joy in you and allow you to maybe feel happy. And then I really hope that my photo project will bring you closer to your family as well.
Yeah, I think picking up on what some of the others have mentioned, I think one of the really exciting parts about this exhibition in particular is the fact that it was open to submissions from really just anyone who wanted to participate. And I think that that resulted in photos that are a little bit more maybe ordinary than what we would think of as normally belonging in an art exhibition, right? Even if it's, you know, an online exhibition and not one in person. And so I think that, you know, some of the participants, Cyrus and Susanna, mentioned maybe not being so sure of themselves before they were taking their photos, but actually finding it a really meaningful experience to go through this process of documentation of their family events or different events that they maybe participate in every year that come to appear somewhat ordinary or usual. And I hope that people who see the exhibition can think about in their own life whether or not there's anything that they can also observe and document in this way to not only save for themselves in the future to look back on, but also for others that you maybe want to share them with. So either the people who are in the photos that you can share these photos with, or other people that you want to just sort of communicate with about something that you want to communicate about your own life or about different traditions that you celebrate. I think it can be a really useful way to spend some time, and also can help you think through what really matters to you.
Thank you all for those wonderful answers. I noticed that Grace asked a question about that most of you, if not all, are international students and or expats. So Susanna did correct in there. Yes, so Susanna and Cyrus are actually Hong Kong students. And then Robbie and Kit are part of the Yale-China community. And we opened this up to our Yale-China community, and then they spread it within their own networks. So all of our artists are either directly linked to Yale-China or have a link through someone else who is connected to Yale-China. So we have, everyone is connected to Hong Kong in some way through this exhibition, but not everyone is based in Hong Kong. So again, if anyone has questions, please put them in the chat or use the raise hand function, and we'll call on you to ask your question out loud.
I actually want to respond to Susanna's photo, is it okay? Because
Sure.
I find it extremely interesting, at the same time very intimate. When you are describing your photos, I pay more attention on your household decorations are more like, because like for me, like having a family dinner is very, as you say, is like we practice it every year. But then I'm more interested in to see what kind of photo is on the shelf behind the dining table, because like those are the table that you eat every day, and then those are the photo you want to see every day. And then you see like, sort of like a little door on the shelf that look kind of like you, because with the glasses and things. And then besides the door is sort of like a wedding, very old wedding photos. And then you actually can see the life of the people living in this space by what kind of items, like biscuits box, like biscuits can, like on the shelf. So they're quite interesting. I would be like looking at the brand, and then I'll associate what kind of taste and what kind of flavor that family would like all these little details. And then my family used to like to put newspaper on the table in order to to have too many bones and mess after. And then your family will put like this plastic table sheet on the table, which is all very, very fascinating to me.
Yeah, the cabinet has been there a long time ago. I think the family photo is my mom's wedding photo. So I'm not in there because I'm not born yet. And the little figurine is my aunt's. She is a teacher, so she gets a lot of gifts from her students. So that's one of her gifts. So I think the cabinet is kind of like a collection of all the family members contributing in some way. I think I haven't put anything there yet. You inspire me to put something there now.
Become part of the decorations in the household. Yeah.
Does anyone else have any more questions for any of our artists tonight?
It's not a question, but just to follow up on what Kit said. One of the other artists, Anne Hui, was not able to participate because she's a very busy medical student studying for her exams. But what Kit said about Susanna's, sort of the intimacy of Susanna's domestic scene made me think of some of her photos as well, some of which were also taken at her home in Singapore. And I also noticed in her photos some, old family photos behind sort of the scene she was showing, or some other family decorations. So I'd really encourage everyone to also, if you're interested in that sort of aspect of the project and of the photos, to also take a look at her exhibition as well.
I'll drop a link in the chat to the exhibition in case you haven't seen it.
Yeah, I really, there's enough time to see the exhibition, but this is really a good time to take a look at it, since we are at the end of the festival period. So I encourage everybody to check it out. We're very happy to be a part of this. And now to get to know you and listen to your stories even further, thank you so much for participating in this. And share it with your friends and family.
Well, if no one else has any questions, we'll wrap it up here. I know it's getting late here in New Haven, and it's very early/late for Kit in Switzerland. I'm not sure if you're thinking it's early or late at this point. You should be asleep right now. And I'm sure that Susanna, Cyrus, and Robbie have full Saturdays ahead of them, so we don't want to take too much of their time up either. So again, thank you to all of you and to Hong and Anne Hui for being a part of our exhibit, and a huge thank you to the Ely Center for hosting it on their website and being a wonderful collaborator with Yale-China. And we just want to wish everyone a happy Lantern Festival for the last day of Lunar Fest and the Lunar New Year, and hope you all have a wonderful, happy, healthy year of the ox, and hopefully we'll see some of you soon in our travels. Have a great night,
right.
everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Morning for those in Hong Kong.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Take care. Thank you.
Bye-bye.